That is the reason I'm saying it very often. God has laid this in my heart that we begin to focus more on children. My wife was telling me, it's not a story, it's something that she was reading from the newspaper. An 18-year-old who could be a high school student, killed an elderly man, and they tied that man, around the tree, killed that man. How it got revealed, it was in a paper. One of the slips of, whatever tail slip or whatever receipt of that man was discovered in a car that was driven by one of those people that were involved in that. An 18-year boy was involved in that crime. Children that you have just left in your community playing on the streets, and you are saying that those are children, are the next crime, are the next criminals. Let me tell you why I'm saying this. Most of us, I'm not talking about the young ones, look at us here. The societies where we came from, I'm going to use the word, it's a religious word, were Christianized. In other words, why am I saying, what do I mean by saying Christianized? I'm saying that Christianity was the order of the community. On a Sunday, you look at almost people coming from their houses with their children going to churches. I'm not talking about salvation here. That was Christianized. We were living in Christianized societies. At least the fear of God was in each and every family. Today, there is not even a mention of God in the young families that we have now. Children wake up, and then some of us who have left them at home. We don't even care what they are doing. And we think it's okay with us. As long as we are in the church. But God, that's not God's vision. So God is interested in making sure that his children, the next generation will be a generation that is going to be gripped by the fear of God. Those children in those communities, in the next 5 or 8, 10 years, they're involved in burglary, they're involved in stealing, they're involved in mugging, they're involved in stabbing people. People cannot go freely on the streets. It means the society will become completely a society where the devil is fully in control, as it is happening now. There are places where you cannot go. How are we going to prevent that from happening? By making sure that we, as Christians, we get involved, we go door to door, we go to those children that are just playing on the streets on Sunday and bring them into the church, so that we are not trying to make them religious, but we bring in the fear of God, the God of the universe. The devil has won the battle by closing prayers in our school and taking God out of our schools. You open up radios, the discussion is all about children. Children are unruly. Children are beating teachers. Children are stabbing teachers, carrying guns in the school. How can we do? Let's look for psychologists. Let's let's bring more securities in the school and its premises. Those are the costs that are unnecessary. That could be money, that could be invested, that people, even those children that are still at school, that is being reserved for them, for future, for their future, for work, for their jobs. But that is the money that we're spending. Where is the church? Each and every person who's here has got generations in her loins, in his loins. That is why you can never live a casual life. There is no specific time where you say, I'll begin to worship God when I'm 40 years. Then I'll begin to settle down, to tone down things and begin to worship God. Absolutely cannot do that. Because life has got to start at an early age. Us Kiba, we're training them to be fathers now. Those are 4-year-olds. We're training them. Their language is the language of boys that they understand. When they talk the language of boys, they mean myself, the Budi, that is Lwando, them. They say there are 4 boys in the house. Boys don't do this. Boys do this. There's nothing wrong with that. Because this language of trying to make people to be in between, don't do that. Raise a man as a man. You need to learn to learn. Yes, there's no man. Raise a man as a man. I don't mean that boys cannot wash dishes. They wash dishes, they do good. But make sure that you make a man to be a man. You don't make him to be a sissy like and just trying to do funny things. This is a man. I mean, there is absolutely no age where you can say, I will wait up until this child is 30 years old, then I will begin to share some few things around manhood. No ways. Raise a woman to be a woman, and I think, why not? Come on. You must be a lady. You said wonderful things in a conference. Raise a lady to become a lady, because there is somebody, a young man, who's looking for a lady, not for another tomboy. Amen. You can imagine I was trying to make a tomboy, and then I want to marry her. Then it's a hola, and the hola. Yeah. Hold on. Amen. We speak about generations. I mean, that is why I want you to understand that which is happening out there, we must have our focus on the next generation. I'm going to repeat myself by touching this point. The story. A lonely beggar lay drunk. I always touch this wherever I go. I repeat. Okay, don't get tired, because in teaching, you must say it again. And again, as a teacher. And again. And again. Talking to teachers. And again. Gwen Cranmore from America, he said this pastor will always speak about warning people about immorality, all these things, and especially in the area of sexual immorality. And then Gwen one day decided to ask her pastor. He said, Pastor, do we have people who are involved in sexual immorality in this church? Why? Or do you know of any person who's involved? Why do you keep on talking about this? And he said to her, Gwen, I say it time and again, so that even if you think about it tomorrow, you know that the pastor has spoken about it on Sunday.